assessment, violation, and penalties under Dubai corporate tax. Munish Mehta, LLB, CA, CS, IRP. Assessment of corporate tax, Article 60. Assessment of tax refers to the reviewing and evaluation of information filed in the tax return by the taxable person. This is done to ensure that the information filed is correct and there is no foul play by the taxpayer to evade payment of tax liability due. Furthermore, the law also provides for penalties in cases of violations or non-compliance of corporate tax procedures by taxable persons under the UAE corporate tax law. The assessment of corporate taxes of a taxable person shall be undertaken in consonance with the tax procedure laws of the state as well as the relevant decisions issued for the implementation of the provisions of the law. Assessment of corporate tax. A taxable person can also request for the assessment of corporate tax by the authority. For that purpose, the Federal Tax Authority can issue situations, conditions, and circumstances under which such a request may be made by the taxable person or a corporate tax assessment is issued by the Federal Tax Authority. Violation. What is violation? The act of doing something that is not allowed by a law or rule. Penalties. What is penalties? A penalty is a punishment that someone is given for doing something which is against a law or rule. Penalties for violation of provision of UAE corporate tax. Penalties and fines for non-compliance with the provisions of the law shall be determined as per the Tax Procedures Law, and the relevant decisions issued for implementation of the provisions of the corporate tax law. Corporate tax fines and penalties. Corporate tax fines and penalties in UAE will be imposed on businesses that do not stay compliant with the regulations of corporate tax UAE set by the Ministry of Finance and the Federal Tax Authority. Be prepared to register for CT and complete the payments at the earliest to avoid fines and penalties. Fines for late registration. Every business needs to register for corporate tax and obtain a tax registration number, TRN. During the registration, the required documents for corporate tax must be properly submitted. However, not registering or delaying the registration of corporate tax would cause the imposition of a huge fine. Penalties for late return filing. A taxable person should file a corporate tax return for every tax period within 9 months from the end of a specific period. This deadline is applied for paying the corporate tax due in terms of the tax period for which a return is filed. Not complying with the federal decree laws or late filing of tax returns will be charged a humongous fine in dirhams. Penalty of late return filing. Penalty for late payment of corporate tax. AMJ helps you with corporate tax fines and penalties. It is always recommended you that pay the taxes on time as per the rules of the Ministry of Finance to avoid fines or penalties. AMJ Auditing has been a great tax advisor for many businesses, startups as well as large organizations. The team has great knowledge of how to deal with fines and penalties or how to prevent such payments. The team dedicates